Thank you once again, devotees. We are now beginning the third part of attention and affection for Sri Harinam. Devotees, it is very important that on this path we should follow the guidelines of shastra, because shastra has been helping us from the beginning till the end. Even shastra is the one which is telling us that there are two types of bhakti. What are the two types of bhakti? Vaidhi and Raganuga. It is shastra which tells us. It is shastra which tells us to go find a guru. It is shastra which tells us what are the qualifications of a guru. and therefore following shastra is very important. I'll begin with a quote from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says something in the purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.12. Please read, Prabhu.
A sincere devotee must, therefore, be prepared to hear the Vedic literature like the Upanishads, Vedanta, and other literatures left by the previous authorities or Goswamis for the benefit of his progress. Without hearing such literatures, one cannot make actual progress. And without hearing and following the instructions, the show of devotional service becomes worthless and therefore a sort of disturbance in the path of devotional service.
It's a very important purport, dear devotees. It is meant for all of us. A devotee should be prepared to hear literature, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, the literature of the previous acharyas. We should study very diligently because these literature tell us how to progress on the path for the benefit of his own progress. Prabhupada says for our own progress. Without hearing such literatures, one cannot make actual progress. You may be called as a progressed devotee by the number of years you have spent, but actual internal progress is made by understanding shastra, dear devotees. And without hearing and following the instructions, Prabhupada says the show of devotional service becomes worthless. Every weekend we may put on fancy Indian clothes and come to the temple, dear devotees. And then when we go back home, we are back to who we are, dear devotees. So it becomes a sort of a show, and then it becomes little worthless to follow without taking guidance from shastra. So it's very important all of us should follow strictly in the line of thought given by Srila Prabhupada, previous acharyas and shastra. Sadhu, Guru and shastra are very important on this path. Please always remember this. And I told you, dear devotees, that attention is one part, but most importantly, to have that eternal relationship with Krishna, we will need to have affection, and this affection is what Bhagavan hankers for. Sri Rai Ramananda, in a wonderful verse which is quoted in the Padyavali and also in the Chaitanya Charitamritam, the very wonderful verse by Sri Rai Ramananda which specifies the value of that affection. This verse is in the meter Vasant Tilakam. I'll try to sing, please repeat after me. नानोपचार कृत पूजन मार्त बंधो
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 प्रेम्णैव भक्त हृदयं सुख विद्रुतं स्यात्
प्रेम्णैव भक्त हृदयं सुख विद्रुतं स्यात्
यावत् क्षुदस्ति जठरे जरठा पिपासा
यावत् क्षुदस्ति जठरे जरठा पिपासा
तावत् सुखाय भवतो ननु भक्ष्यपेये
तावत् सुखाय भवतो ननु भक्ष्यपेये.
Sri Rai Ramanand says Nana Upachara. You know what is Upachara, dear devotees? An activity of bhakti is called as Upachara. So there are 64 Upachara, 64 limbs of bhakti given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Shravanam is one Upachara. Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, they are all Upacharas. Nana Upachara Krita Pujanam. You may try to perform many Upachars, many limbs of bhakti. Pujanam, you may worship Artha Bandhu, Bhagwan Dina Bandhu. You may worship Krishna. But Bhakta, O devotee, Premnaiva Hridayam Sukha Vidrutam Syat. Only by affection. Premna eva, only by doing it with affection. Hridayam Sukha Vidrutam Syat. Will Bhagwan's heart will melt in love, in happiness, and your heart will also melt in love and happiness. Premna eva, not otherwise. Alright, so this is Sri Rai Ramananda's conclusion in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we need to add a little bit of salt. When you add salt to salad, the salad starts giving out water. You might have seen it starts melting literally. So little salt of affection will start melting Bhagwan's heart and your heart. But not everyone can give that affection so easily. Some people don't want to give it. Some people don't feel the need to be affectionate towards Bhagwan right now. Why? Yavat kshudasti jathare. As much hungry a person is, jaratha pipasa, and as much thirsty a person is, tavat sukhaya bhavato. That much pleasure they will take in eating food. I hope you are able to understand. Some of us may be very hungry for that affection. Some of us are not so hungry. So some of us will make an effort in that direction, some will not make an effort. To the degree that a person is hungry, to that degree they feel happy on eating food. How does food and water feel after Nirjala Ekadashi? Right? And how does food and water feel after the feast on Dwadashi? Big difference, isn't it? After Dwadashi, being a big plate in front of you, a big plate, you are full till here. What will you say? Yes or no? I'm already full. You're already full. So there are people who are already full with material life. They have no aspirations in this direction. If you break your head in front of them and tell, perform with affection, do with affection, it is not going to work. Because they don't have the fire burning in their stomach, and so they will not feel the need, dear devotees. But if all of you, dear devotees, feel the need, the intelligent devotee will feel that need, that I need to have that affection with Bhagavan. Why? Because this affection is the only thing that can satisfy Bhagavan and myself. That is my original constitutional position. And the sooner I become fixed in that original constitutional position, that is the greatest seva that I can do for Bhagavan. So if somebody has that intelligence, then they will definitely aim in that direction. But this intelligence is not easily attained, dear devotees. Aneka janma janita. After many births of walking in the forest of delusion, maybe a few people come to the path of bhakti, and then a few of them understand the value of this. So dear devotee, it is very important that you understand the value of developing affection for Bhagavan. Here is the translation, Prabhu. Kindly read what Sri Harināma says.
Dear devotee, the heart of Krishna melts in bliss only by genuine prema, not simply by elaborate worship done using various paraphernalia. Food and drinks appear pleasing to an individual only to the degree that they are hungry or thirsty.
Yeah, it's a very important verse. Sri Raya Ramananda has spoken a lot in this concise verse. So don't be surprised if some people don't see the value in it. Don't be surprised, because they are already full. They don't have that hunger. When will that hunger be generated? Maybe not in this life. You can't force a person to become hungry, can you? You can't force a person to be hungry. So therefore it's very important that we should have that innate hunger coming from within. And if we don't feel hungry at this point of time, at least let us associate with somebody who is already hungry for it. So there's a sadhu sang is very important in this. Dear devotees, as I told you on Vaidhi Bhakti, when we were discussing attention, early morning you get up and chant something while you are taking a shower. What do you chant? Krishna, 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 Hare. So wonderful. So Srila Prabhupada confirms this in a purport. Dear devotees, Srila Prabhupada says, please repeat what Srila Prabhupada says.
Concerning Pratah Smriti, remembrance of the Lord in the morning, in the early morning hours known as Brahma Muhurta, one should get up and immediately chant the Hare Krishna mantra, or at least Krishna, 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 Hare. In this way, one should remember Krishna. Some shlokas or prayers should also be chanted. By chanting, one immediately becomes auspicious and transcendental to the infection of material qualities. Actually, one has to chant and remember Lord Krishna 24 hours daily, or as much as possible. Smartavya sadatam Vishnur vismartavyo na jatuchit.
This is from the purport of Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's exactly in line with what we saw in that attention presentation.
Yes.
Devotees. Pratah Smriti, just get up in Brahma Murta and chant Krishna, 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 or he says Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Because Srila Prabhupada says there may be some people who may not know that Krishna, 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 hey. So for them, they should Hare Krishna Mahamantra they can chant. And then in this way one should remember Krishna. And he says some shlokas or prayers. He doesn't mention which shloka or prayer. The Hari Bhakti Vilas mentioned. Anybody remembers which prayer shloka was that from the Bhagavatam? Jayati Janani Vaso Devaki Janmavada. Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 90th chapter verse number 48. Or you can also have your spontaneous devotees. Once you are little spontaneous on the path, you can have your own verses. The main thing is to remember Krishna. The main thing is not the verse. The main thing is to remember Shri Krishna. Alright? Early in the morning also you can wake up and say Ardhon Milita Lochanasya Pipatha Paryaptam Ekam Stanam Sadhya Prasnuta. Half opened eyes he is drinking devotee. So you can, no problem. It is a path of taste. I hope you are able to understand. It is a path of taste. Taste is called, please repeat, Swarasa. What is it called? Swarasa. And Swarasa turns into another term, Swarasiki. What does it turn into? Swarasiki. Swarasiki Upasana, the method of worship where you are dictated by your Swaras, by your own taste. Gradually you have to come to that point where you are dictated by your own taste. Shastra will not play such a big role at that point because you are dictated by your own taste. Shastra will only tell you these are 64 limbs, follow strictly, don't fall down, dear devotees. But you are then driven by swaras. It is called Swarasiki Upasana, where you are driven by your own taste. And I always give this example that in an arranged marriage, a boy and girl come together and the parents arrange. Parents tell this boy is your husband, parents tell this girl is your wife. And they come together and then first meeting is little strange, because they don't know each other so well. So, but after a few years, something has to develop. What has to develop, dear devotees?
Affection.
Affection has to develop. So after 10 years also, if there is no affection, so something is going wrong. So we should try to have that affection also in our relationship with Bhagavan. Initially, rules and regulations will work. But later, after 10-15 years, if you don't want to feel stagnated, then affection should definitely be introduced. Dear devotees, early morning we should wake up and remember Krishna. Now, please tell me one thing. I was always asked this question. What is the difference between smaran and imagination? You might as well would have said, early morning wake up and imagine Krishna. Isn't it? Early morning wake up and do what?
Smarana.
Imagine. Dear devotees, aren't we imagining? Achha. The image of Krishna in your mind and the image of Krishna in your mind are the same or different?
Different.
So then somebody is imagining. Or both of you are. So dear devotees, if a question is asked, because a lot of the japa, Harināma, it also involves smaran, because you have to remember, O Krishna, O energy of Krishna, please engage me in your service. And then whatever pastimes you have heard previously, they come spontaneously to you. Dear devotees, is this smaran or imagination?
Smarana.
How do we know? Your mind is material or spiritual?
Material.
So it's very important to understand. A question is asked, what is the difference between genuine smaran and imagination? If we clear this question, dear devotees, it will become very easy for us to understand what is the difference between genuine smaran and imagination. In reply, I'd like to say, just as there is a difference between uttering genuine naam and uttering empty syllables. Why are you only asking a question for smaran? You can also ask that question for japa. There are 3 people sitting and doing japa here in front of you. You can see on the screen. Okay. Tell me which one of them is chanting real japa and which one of them is just uttering the syllables. The left one.
One in the white clothing.
One in the white clothing because he's grihastha, so no. Why?
He's smiling.
So he's not chanting japa?
No, he's happy while he's chanting.
So it's wrong to be happy?
No, that means it's correct. That means he's the one that's chanting japa.
It's kirtan
Chant
time.
and be happy.
Yeah.
If it was like the kirtan type of japa.
You can't make out, really? Just as you can't make out who is chanting.
Trick question.
Can we give a certificate to anybody that you are chanting genuine japa? You can't give a certificate. Believe me, if such a certificate would exist, all of us would be, scrambling to get such a certificate. But such a certificate doesn't exist. Nobody can tell just by looking at us whether we are chanting genuine japa or whether we are just uttering the blank syllables. So, how do we know whether it is smaran or imagination? When externally visible acts like japa are so difficult to judge, can you imagine how difficult it will be to judge internal acts like smarana? It's so difficult and impossible. So, dear devotees, I would like to show you a photograph. Please see, and if somebody can identify which photograph this is. This is Radha Madan Mohan in Karoli. This is Radha Madan Mohan. Wonderful. Dear devotees, this particular deity. Okay, this is Sri Radha Damodar in Vrindavan. And this right one, this is Radha. Dear devotees, all these deities look same or different? So which one is real and which is imagination? That I know. That I know. Krishna is only. The material world is also real. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya ho jayega. See, the artists who carved the deities, they must have had an image of Bhagwan in the mind before they carved the deity, isn't it? So, which one of them is real and which one of them is imagination? Hello?
According to scriptures, the description, they try to manifest that as the skull.
Okay. So, Mataji is saying, according to scriptures, they manifest. Mataji, I have seen some deities which don't look anything like like if you go to Mayapur, Prachin Navadev, there is one deity of Narsimhadev. Have you seen that deity of Narsimhadev? If you go to old Prachin Navadev, there is one deity of Narsimhadev. It's a stone embedded in the wall. And it doesn't look much like Narsimhadev. Like, if you wouldn't tell me that this is Narsimhadev, I wouldn't have known that it is Narsimhadev. Achha, older deities, now we may have very polished, ornate deities, like, if you've seen older deities, were they very polished, ornate, or were they slightly rough? So slightly rough, So that was not Krishna, is it? It was. So that is a very important question. Which one of these deities is real and which is imagination? Which one of these forms? Because the answer to this question is a major doubt solver in our understanding of the whole path of Krishna Bhakti. Here is a painting which was made when Srila Prabhupada was present. It was commissioned under Srila Prabhupada. Okay, devotees. Is Krishna in the painting?
Yes.
If I take a photo of the painting, is Krishna in that photo?
Yes.
If I take a photo of the photo, is Krishna in that photo?
Yes.
What strange ideas all of you have. How does Krishna look? Some acharyas are describing a dark rain cloud. Some acharyas are describing like a blue sapphire. Some acharya describing is like a tamal tree. Isn't it? How exactly is he?
Krishna looks like Krishna.
That's a good answer. My teacher asked me, describe the rainy season. Rainy season is rainy season. It is when rain falls. So those answers are good. But, dear devotees, it's a very important principle here to understand something. That in all of these deities, all the deities are having Krishna. And dear devotees, let's go back for a moment. There is a principle at work here. I will tell this principle. This principle is explained by Sri Jiva Goswami. And once you understand this principle nicely, it will become very easy for us to know how the whole thing works. Please repeat after me. The principle is named adesh.
Adesh.
Now I will explain what is adesh, dear devotees. Adesh is a principle in shastra. Adesh means when all the qualities of one entity are completely copy pasted, transferred to another entity. That process of transfer has a technical name. What is that technical name, dear devotees? Adesh. Please hear carefully. It's a very important philosophical point. For example, in Shastra it is said, Na griham griham ityahur grihini griham uchyate. Four walls are not a home. The lady of the home is the home. I hope you are able to understand. All the qualities of the home were transferred into the lady of the home. This principle is called as what? Atidesh. I hope. So this is one principle where all the qualities of one entity are transferred into another entity. It is called Atidesh. Now, dear devotees, when a temple is established, so the pure devotee who is invited to establish the temple, they do puja, they do prana pratishtha. When they do prana pratishtha, they invite Bhagwan to, and the entire abode, actually the entire abode, all the qualities of the abode of Bhagwan are transferred into the temple. I hope you are able to understand. So the temple gets the atidesh of the abode, spiritual world. I hope you are able to understand. So all the qualities of Vaikuntha or Goloka are exactly copy pasted, transferred, without anything losing there. All the copies are transferred, all the properties are transferred to the temple. Now the temple becomes non-different from the spiritual world through that prana pratishtha. In the center of that spiritual world, there is one personality. Who is the central personality in the spiritual world?
Krishna.
Who is the equivalent entity in the temple?
The deity of Krishna.
So the deity also has atidesh of Shri Krishna. In this way, by the process of atidesh, the deity is completely non-different from Krishna. And dear devotees, it's very important to understand that deities are of 8 varieties. Shaili Darumayi Lauhi,
Shaili Darumayi Lauhi,
Lepya Lekhya Cha Saikati,
Lepya Lekhya Cha Saikati,
Manomayi Manimayi,
Manomayi Manimayi,
Pradimashta Vidhasmritam,
Pradimashta Vidhasmritam.
The deity form of the Lord is said to appear in 8 varieties: stone, wood, metal, earth, paint, sand, the mind, or jewels.
Dear devotees, one of the deity forms appears within the
Mind.
Now, how do we know? Just as we cannot say which deity, which stone deity is Krishna and which is not Krishna. All of them look different. Each and every one of our mental image of Krishna will be different. Slightly different, you can say. But dear devotees, it's very important to understand how Krishna becomes non-different from that image. So Sri Rupa Goswami says, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi,
Ata Shri Krishna Namadi,
Na Bhave Grahyam Indriyai,
Na Bhave Grahyam Indriyai,
Sevon Mukhe Jihvadau,
Sevon Mukhe Jihvadau,
Swayam Eva Spuratyadaha,
Swayam Eva Spuratyadaha.
Shri Ataha, therefore, Shri Krishna Nam Adi, the name, form, qualities, pastimes of Krishna na bhaved grahyam. You cannot grasp by the material senses. The senses are material or spiritual devotees?
Material.
Krishna is spiritual. Can a material sense object grasp anything of a spiritual entity?
No.
Not at all. So then how can our eyes see Krishna? How can our tongue chant Krishna's name, which is completely spiritual? Seva unmukhe. As soon as Bhagavan detects that there is a little attitude for rendering genuine seva, then all these name forms activities become non-different from the functions of the senses, and thus in this way Bhagavan descends on the material senses. Similarly, when the person who's making the deity is carving the deity, and the deity may not look very much like Krishna, I hope you are able to understand. But when the prana pratishtha is done with a mood to render what dear devotees? Seva. So Bhagavan becomes non-different from the deity by which principle? Adesh. By the principle of adesh, Bhagavan becomes non-different from the deity. Similarly, there is an image present in the mind. The image has been drawn by the material mind, but the intention is to render seva. When the proper intention is there, Bhagavan becomes non-different from the image that is present within the mind. I hope you are able to understand. By which principle, dear devotees? Atidesh. Atidesh is that principle by which the entire abode of Bhagavan descends along with Bhagavan himself on the senses of the devotee or in the temple. Here is the translation. Prabhu, kindly read.
The names, forms, etc. of Sri Krishna cannot be grasped by the ordinary senses. It is only when these senses, which are the tongue, etc., become inclined to genuine service that these names, forms, etc. of Sri Krishna manifest spontaneously on the ordinary senses.
So, dear devotees, Sri Jiva Goswami explains further. Dear devotees, he says, Shri Bhagavataha Swarupa Shakti Vritti Rupam. Dear devotees, please tell me, is bhakti material or spiritual? Spiritual. It is Bhagavato Swarupa Shakti. It is a part of Bhagavan's Swarupa Shakti. Acha, vritti. Bhakti is a function. What is bhakti, dear devotees? Function. Bhakti is a function of Bhagavan's internal spiritual potency. Ato aprakritam. Therefore, she is non-material. Api, still. Kayadi vritti tadatmyena eva. But still the body has material functions, dear devotees. For example, movements of hand. They are a material function. But when these functions are performed with an inclination to render seva, the function of bhakti becomes non-different from the functions of the senses. Thus she descends on the senses and the senses become spiritualized. So please tell me, can bhakti be produced simply by a movement of the material senses? You need one most important factor, seva unmukha. You need to have the attitude to render seva. And that attitude can either come from Vaidhi Bhakti because Shastra told us, or it can come from Raganuga Bhakti because we have that inherent desire to render seva. Both attitudes are there. Please read, Prabhu, the translation.
Bhakti is a function of the Swarup Shakti, internal potency of the Lord. Thus, she is completely non-material. Yet, one should know that she becomes non-different from the functions of the body, mind, etc. In this way, transcendental bhakti descends on those respective mundane senses.
Dear devotees, please remember therefore, there are 8 varieties of deities. One of the varieties of deities is also that which appears in the mind. This deity may be temporary. There are some deities which are permanent, some deities are temporary. Sri Krishna has said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, both types of deities are bona fide deities. The deity in the mind appears for some time, then disappears. And the deity which we have here on the temple, it is permanent. So Sri Krishna, I'll break into this, and here is the verse. Please repeat after me. चला चलेति द्विविधा प्रतिष्ठा जीव मंदिरम बुद्ध्वा सा वाहनेनस्तः स्थिरायामुद्धवार्चने. Please read the translation.
The deity form of the Lord, who is the shelter of all living entities, can be established in two ways, temporarily or permanently. But a permanent deity, having been called, can never be sent away, my dear Uddhav.
So dear devotees, the deity in the mind is which? Temporary or permanent? Temporary. So that deity is also not. So when we are remembering Bhagwan, it is actually smaran of Bhagwan. It is smaran performed within the mind with a deity, dear devotees, not which means any image in the mind that we have of Shri Krishna, that becomes a deity in the mind. If the attitude is to render genuine seva, Bhagwan descends on that particular form. Bhagwan becomes not different from that form, and then you can easily have genuine smaran. So the factor that distinguishes between genuine smaran and imagination is the inclination to render seva. The factor that distinguishes between genuine japa and uttering syllables is the inclination to render seva. That's it. There is no other factor, distinguishing factor. And can we judge somebody's inclination? Therefore, it is purely between you and Bhagwan. I have always said this. Bhakti cannot be measured from an external point of view. From an external point of view, you may see somebody performing lots of bhakti, but you still cannot judge what is there within their heart. So always that example is given when Ravan came to steal Sita Devi, he came as a sadhu, devotees. When he came as a sadhu, externally he was a sadhu, but internally only he knew who he was. Similarly, when this Kal Nemi tried to stop Shri Hanuman from from taking that Sanjeevani booty back to Lanka at that particular point, to going to Himalayas, at that particular point of time, he also dressed up like a sadhu who was doing bhajan of Bhagwan. Still, it is only within the mind that it is determined who is rendering genuine seva, who is not rendering genuine seva. Dear devotees, therefore, it's very important that whenever we hear about name, forms, qualities and pastimes of Shri Krishna, there should be one inclination that this is not for my enjoyment. I hope you are able to understand. This is not for my enjoyment. This is for rendering seva. Now we heard so many pastimes in the past talk. There are so many Bal Leela of Shri Krishna. Some of us were laughing, the devotees, and we all had a good time hearing those pastimes. So it was all for our enjoyment, isn't it? That's what it was. No. It was for what? Developing affection. Okay. But we heard those pastimes, we developed some affection, alright. But those pastimes should be offered, that remembrance should be offered as a seva to Bhagwan. How? It's a very important point. How do we offer those pastimes as seva to Bhagwan? So when you hear pastimes of Bhagwan, you will have two main emotions. One is happiness and one is sadness. Please tell me, dear devotees, how many of us wish to feel sadness in connection to Bhagwan?
I do feel like crying sometimes.
Okay, that's okay. That may be for a personal reason. But like crying because Krishna is going away from Mathura. There's a very nice verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Sri Madhavendra Puri. I'll show you. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 4.197. This verse is in the meter Viyogini, very special meter. Please sing after me. Ai Dina Dayardra Nath He.
Ai Dina Dayardra Nath He.
Ai Dina Dayardra
त्वदलोककातरम् दयितभ्राम्यति किं करोम्यहम् This verse was uttered by Srimati Radharani when Sri Krishna had gone to Mathura. She was crying in separation, dear devotees. This stage of separation is called pravas, where Bhagavan has gone away to a certain distance and there is very little news of him coming. And then Sri Radha is saying, Ai Deena Dayardra Nath. Everyone in Mathura is saying that you are Deena Daya Ardra, that you are completely softened in heart by your mercy on the fallen. Mathura Nath, but O ruler of Mathura, Kada Avalokyase, when will I see you? I will tell you the exact time at which Sri Radha had this particular feeling in her heart, dear devotees. When Bhagavan was on the chariot of Akrura, he was leaving, dear devotees, and when Bhagavan, they tried their best to stop. And when Bhagavan did not stop and he left, dear devotees, the gopis' eyes followed the chariot till the last tip of the chariot, dear devotees, till it went down. And when it went down, dear devotees, that umbrella of the chariot, when it went down, when they could no longer see the chariot, that is when Sri Radha cried and said, Mathura Nath, because now you decided. Today you are going to rule Mathura. Kada avalokyase, when will we see you again? Hridayam tvad aloka kataram. My heart is becoming weak due to separation from you. Daita, my beloved. Bhramyati, my heart is swooning. Kim karomyaham, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. This is a verse of separation. Dear devotees, do you feel happy or unhappy? Here is the translation, Prabhu, please read.
O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved, what shall I do now?
Dear devotees, what to do? Is he going to come back? He's not going to come back. He lied through his teeth. He said, I will come back. And because of his promise, so-called promise, they were still alive. Now, why would Bhagavan put his associates in such suffering? Dear devotees, remember this pastime in your heart and please chant along with me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Suddenly the chanting is not so enthusiastic, isn't it? Why, dear devotees? Sadness, no? Why? Separation, okay. But why separation? Isn't it sad? So there is an answer to this question, dear devotees. Very important answer to this question, which is given by Sri Rupa Goswami in Laghu Bhagavatamritam. And it's a very important answer that we should all understand. Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami says something. Srila Rupa Goswami says, please repeat after me. Vraje prakadalilaya Tridmasan viraho muna Viraha, they experience viraha. What is the meaning of viraha, dear devotees? Separation. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says in the commentary, please repeat after me. Iti viraha ananda aswada nirbharo. This was the great joyous shower of relishing separation. Can separation be relished? No? Think about it. I'm asking a very important question. Think about it. Can separation be relished?
Yes. If he is enemy, that will be.
No. is separation. Somebody who is dearer to you than your life. Shri Krishna. Dear devotees, it is very important to understand that all of Krishna's activities are non-material in nature. Separation from Krishna does not produce material pain. I hope you are able to understand. Separation from Krishna does not produce material pain. How can I say that? Is there a praman? Of course there is a praman. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Shukadev Goswami gives the praman. Iti nandadayo gopa Krishna Rama kathamuda Kurvanto ramamanascha Navindan bhava vedanam. Kindly read. This is 10.11.58 Bhagavatam.
In this way, all the cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, enjoyed topics about the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great transcendental pleasure, and they could not even perceive material tribulations.
Oh my goodness. They could not perceive material tribulations. It means something, dear devotees, that in the pastimes of Bhagavan there is no material suffering. Whatever unhappiness you will experience is an expression of bhakti ras. It is an expression of what? Bhakti ras. It is completely spiritual. And I will give one final example to make it clear, dear devotees. Often bhakti ras is experienced through natya, through drama. In my childhood, my father took me to watch a drama. It was Bhagavan Ramchandra's Ramayana drama. So I went and watched a drama. There was this scene going on where Bharat is trying to convince Bhagavan Ram to come back and rule the kingdom. Bharat did not know that Bhagavan Ram was exiled. When he came back, he knew that his brother is exiled. He went to the forest, but by that time Maharaj Dashrath is no more. So they all go to the forest and Bharat finds Sri Ram, and Sri Ram says, "What happened? Why are you so unhappy?" So then he sees his mothers, who are all dressed in the clothes of a widow, and Bhagavan Ram understands at that point of time. And Bhagavan Ram cries. And dear devotees, Bhagavan cries like a human. And at that point of time, Bharat says, "Please come back. I'm really very sorry. My mother, she did not have the intelligence. You come back." Bhagavan Ram says, "No, I will not come back." At least then many other sages try to convince him. Does he agree, dear devotees? No. Finally Bharat says, "At least can you give your slippers? I will put the slippers on the throne and I will stay as an ascetic just near the border of the city." And when he takes those slippers on the head and when he turns around towards Ayodhya, everybody, all the residents of Ayodhya start crying, because they know that this turning around of Bharat indicates that Bhagavan Ram will not return for 14 years. Everybody is crying in the audience, in the Ayodhya, all the residents, and the audience who is watching is also crying. So you may say to the person next to you, "Why are you crying? Your brother is sitting right next to you. Why are you crying?" Okay, so this principle, dear devotees, is called ras. What is it called, dear devotees? Ras. Ras has the ability to transform a painful situation into a joyous situation, into a joyous experience, into a joyous experience. So when everybody watches the drama, they all go home and they say, "What a drama it was, my goodness, I'd love to watch it again." And Baba, but it was painful. Why would you watch? It's like saying, "I'd like to cut my hand again. It was so nice, I'd like to cut my hand again." When painful dramas end, people say, "Wow, it was such a wonderful drama. I'd love to watch it again." Why? Wonderful. We are coming close. We are coming close. The framework of rasa turns even the most painful situations into inner joy. That is what it does. So this framework of rasa is how Bhagavan exhibits his lila, his pastimes. So Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan also said this thing. Viraha, Ananda, Aswada, Nirvara. Viraha is actually a big relishment of joy. And if you are still not convinced, how many of you are still not convinced? Be honest. Be honest, even now we are not convinced. Okay. Yeah. So I will give you one last example, which hits close to home. I come from Mumbai, and Mumbai is the city which has spoiled entire India. Right? Because there is an industry in Mumbai. Which industry, devotees? Every year, this music industry produces thousands of songs. Some songs are songs of union. Some songs are songs of separation. Can you please tell me which songs are relished more? But separation is painful, isn't it? But you see, people are crying the songs of separation, but they love the songs the most.
We can relate to their experiences.
Wonderful. So this is called Sahriday. What is it called? And when you are Sahriday with Bhagwan or their associates, the ras that is flowing in their heart also starts flowing in yours. And it is called Sadharanikaran, a generalized version of that ras starts flowing in your heart. And this ras in any variety is pleasurable. I hope you are able to understand. Ras in any variety is what? Pleasurable. And therefore, viraha, separation from Krishna, is actually not painful, although externally it looks painful. Internally it is most pleasurable. So some days when you will chant Hare Krishna, don't forget that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent the last 12 years of his life relishing not union, separation. He was crying in the Gambhira. And then remembering that Mahaprabhu, remembering what he was experiencing. Do you want to see, dear devotees, what he was experiencing in the Gambhira? Little taste, dear devotees, little taste is needed. Sri Rupa Goswami describes in the Padyavali. This verse is in the meter Harini, slightly different tune. I will break every line into 3 parts and then I will sing every line continuously. Alright, please repeat after me. Dalati hridayam, gadhodvegam, vidhanatu vidyate, dalati hridayam, gadhodvegam, vidhanatu vidyate, dalati hridayam, gadhodvegam, vidhanatu vidyate, vahati vikala kayo murcham namunchati chetanam, vahati vikala kayo murcham namunchati chetanam, jwalayati tanu mantardaha karoti navasmasam, jwalayati tanu mantardaha karoti navasmasam, praharati vidir marmachedi nakrimtati jivitam, praharati vidir marmachedi nakrimtati jivitam. Srimati Radharani, after he left for Mathura, Dwarka, she sings, Dalati hridayam, my heart is being pounded by a hammer repeatedly. This pain is pounding my heart repeatedly. But only one problem, dear devotees. Dvidhanatu vidyate. It doesn't break my heart into 2. It pounds my heart like a hammer, but it doesn't break my heart into 2. If it would break my heart into 2, my problem would be solved forever. Vahati Vikalaha Kayo Murcha. My body falls unconscious repeatedly. The only problem, it doesn't fall unconscious permanently. If it would fall unconscious permanently, my problem would be solved. It doesn't fall unconscious permanently. Jwalayati Tanum Antardaha. A fire burns me from within. My only problem, Karoti na bhasmasat. It doesn't burn me from outside. If it would be burn me from outside, my problem would be solved. And Praharati Vidhi Marma Chedi. Vidhi, destiny attacks my soul. It hurts me from within. But na krintati jivitam. But it doesn't pull away my soul from my body. Otherwise, my problem would be solved. This is the translation, Prabhu. Kindly read.
My trembling heart is torn, but will not break into two. My wretched body is stunned, but will not lose consciousness. A fire burns in my body, but does not turn it to ash. Fate wounds my heart, but will not destroy my life.
See, Chaitanya, every verse of the Padyavali went through the ears of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every verse went through the ears of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu, hearing these dear devotees, is crying inside Gambhira. He's crying inside Gambhira. Can you imagine, dear devotees? Is it happiness or unhappiness? It looks like unhappiness. But dear devotees, this separation is the highest pleasure. Only a rasik can understand. Only after prolonged exposure to this will we be able to understand. Crying for Krishna is the greatest perfection of life. Isn't it? So, dear devotees, now let's chant with this mood. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You see a person suffering, what can you do to help that person? Please tell me.
Whatever reduces his suffering.
Whatever reduces his or her suffering. What reduces their suffering? Wonderful. Sharing their feeling has an English name. Please repeat. Empathizing. So whenever you read these pastimes which will give you distress, use it to empathize with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I hope you are able to understand. This distress is not for your personal enjoyment. It is for empathizing with one personality. Which personality? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are here for him. Independent of him, we have no business here. So it is for empathizing with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And any happiness that you share directly with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because, who will not share happiness? Happiness you share, misery you empathize. I hope you are able to understand. So empathize with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is suffering in separation from Sri Krishna. Okay? It's very important. All these pastimes, when you chant your Maha Mantra, sometimes once you are on the stage of affection, affection is not only happiness. Affection also brings distress. And that distress is of a spiritual nature. It is not material distress. I have been telling again and again. Please don't compare it to material distress. Bhagavan was in Dwarka. Shri Krishna was in Dwarka. And Shri Krishna also was hankering for the association of the Brajavasis. He did not play the flute since the day he left Vrindavan. He did not pick up the flute since the day he left Vrindavan. He did not herd a cow since the day he left Vrindavan. We can't imagine how much he misses Shri Vrindavan. Think also from his side, dear devotees. In love, does one person suffer or both people have to suffer? Both people have to suffer. Bhagavan is also suffering. He used to cry alone in Mathura. Nobody has to see him, because if they see the Bada Maharaj is crying, that is a weakness. He used to cry alone in Mathura. Only Uddhav saw at one point of time that he is crying. Otherwise nobody else noticed. And then he told Uddhav. He had mustered up the courage to tell Uddhav. Otherwise he wouldn't have even told Uddhav. Finally his crying reached such a point that he started saying that I will give up my kingdom. I don't want to rule. I don't want to rule. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, please repeat after me. Balavadbhikrita dveshan Prayastyakta nipasanan. Please read.
We have become enemies of powerful men, and we practically abandoned our royal throne.
I have given it up. This is, by coming here, I made so many enemies, and I don't have the desire to rule. I don't have the desire to rule over Dwarka. Dear devotees, I am giving you a little hint into what, you have to empathize with this personality, because chanting of Hare Krishna is good with attention. But affection is a different thing altogether, dear devotees. And now we can have a little glimpse into what affection looks like. Empathy with a person who is suffering. Is this suffering material suffering, dear devotees? No. But this suffering is part of Bhagavan's Leela. It is transcendental suffering. I'll give you another analogy that Sri Sanatana Goswami says. He says you take a healthy hand and you put that hand in fire. What will happen? Burns. And the hand will become dark in color. Alright? Take another healthy hand and put it in freezing ice. What will happen? Frostbite. Frostbite also burns and makes the hand dark. I hope you are able to understand. Same effect is seen, but the cause is completely opposite. I hope you are able to understand. Similarly, you may see the same crying in the Vrajavasis, you may see the same suffering in the Vrajavasis that you see in people of the material world. But the cause of that suffering is exact 180-degree opposite. It has nothing to do with the material world at all. No connection with the material world, dear devotees. So this transcendental suffering also gradually one should learn to have. Then one is a rasika. Rasika is a connoisseur of rasa, one who understands rasa. And that is how, dear devotees, we will understand how to chant also with affection when there is distress, dear devotees. Acha, I don't want to put all of you in a lot of distress today. Okay? Just introduction of little distress. Okay? Introduction. Acha, I told you na Krishna started crying in Mathura. Dwarka, he said, I have given up the kingdom. I want to give it away. I want to give away the kingdom. People in Dwarka started thinking this person is I hope you are able to understand. He's losing his mind. And somebody got very insecure. Mother of Kamsa. Who was father of Kamsa? Ugrasen. Mother of Kamsa is Padmavati. She got very insecure. Because Ugrasen Maharaj was ruling. Krishna has given up the kingdom. Maharaj Ugrasen is ruling. She is thinking that this person will give the entire kingdom to the Brajavasis. He'll give the entire kingdom to the Brajavasis. Then she had a wonderful idea, dear devotees. Sarvam tadgarga hastena Ganayetva Gananushah Viguni Kritya Madbhartra Tasmai Deyam Shape Swayam. I understand this Krishna is feeling so much separation from the Brajavasis because he ate from the hand of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. I promise I will ask Garga Muni to calculate every morsel of food that Nanda Maharaj fed Krishna, and we will pay him double the money. We will pay him double the money. Nanda Maharaj, we will pay double the money. Acha, and if Nanda Maharaj made you work for his cows, now we will not ask any money from him. Can you imagine Krishna's situation in Dwarka? Prabhu, please read the translation.
Padmavati said, Krishna, why should you lament? Just listen to my advice. While living 11 years in the home of Nanda Gop, you two brothers enjoyed various comforts. For that, I swear, my husband will repay Nanda twice over. My husband will see to it that Gardamuni calculates the amount to the smallest fraction and delivers it by his own hand. And if Nanda owes you payment for tending his cows, let him pay you or not, as he wishes.
Can you imagine Krishna's condition at that point of time? He's not able to meet anybody. He cannot go back to Vrindavan. And people in Dwarka are misunderstanding him. Look at his condition. So dear devotees, little suffering. I hope you are able to understand. Now gradually, when we enter into empathy with Bhagavan, enter into empathy with the associates of Bhagavan, we will understand. 40 years passed. He did not return. How many years, dear devotees? 40 years. He did not return. For 40 years he did not return. After 40 years, there was an incident. There was a solar eclipse in Kurukshetra. And it is said in shastra that if you take a bath in that particular time, you will get liberation. So all the residents of Dwarka, they came there in order to take a bath in that holy time. And on this pretext, the Vrajavasis also came to Kurukshetra. And there were big tents set up for that event. And devotees, after 40 years in a tent, the Vrajavasis, all the villagers, they were told, stand all of you here, Maharaj will come. Maharaj will come. So all the Vrajavasis were made to stand inside that tent. Some of them sat down like villagers. The devotees, after 40 years, he entered into that tent. And he looked at the Vrajavasis. Dear devotees, he can freely meet Nanda Maharaj. After 40 years, he can freely meet Mother Yashoda. But the gopis are all married now. He can ask Nanda Maharaj, how are you? He can ask Mother Yashoda, how are you? But who is his first love? What will he ask? What will he ask? There's nothing to ask. Dear devotees, there's nothing to ask. So he cried in front of Nanda Maharaj. He cried in front of Mother Yashoda. And then, dear devotees, he told all of them, you please go and have food. Gradually he moved all of them, and with a slight indication he told the gopis to stay back. And when all of them went out and only the gopis were remaining inside, he told the soldiers to go out. And then after 40 years his eyes were looking for that one face he had not seen. Who was he looking for? And after 40 years he looked into her eyes and she did not look at him. And that time he fell at her feet. He fell at her feet. There is a verse Sri Rupa Goswami tells us. In the Padyavali, Sri Rupa Goswami points out that Sri Radha When he fell at the feet of Sri Radha said something to him. Please repeat after me. Kim padante luthasi bimana swamino hi swatantra. Kim padante luthasi bimana swamino hi swatantra. Kinchit kalam kvachidabhiratas kaste parada. Kinchit kalam kvachidabhiratas kaste parada. Agaskarinyahmihayaya jivitam twadviyoge. Agaskarinyahmihayaya jivitam twadviyoge. Bhartr prana striya iti nanu tvam mamayvanuneya. Bhartr prana striya iti nanu tvam mamayvanuneya. Kim padante luthasi. Why are you falling at my feet? Vimana pagal. Why are you falling at my feet? Don't you know? Swamino hi swatantra. Big kings are independent. Kings are independent, isn't it? Kanchit kalam kvachida virata. Yeah, Maharaj, for some time in your life you might have fallen in love with us. Kings fall in love with so many ladies. Tatra kaste aparadha. What is your fault in that? Why are you falling at my feet? Agaskarini aham. I am the one who is agas. I am papini. I am the one who is sinful. I am sinful, Maharaj. I am sinful. Yaya jivitas tvad viyoge. Because I lived. Because I stayed alive even in separation from you. Actually, bhartri prana striya. Ladies, they are gentle. They should not survive when their husband, their beloved, goes away. It is my fault I survived. Maharaj, you don't ask me for forgiveness. I ask you for forgiveness. I stayed alive. You should not. Tvam mamai vanune. You don't ask for forgiveness. I should ask you for forgiveness. Please read the translation, Prabhu.
Why have you fallen disconsolate at my feet? The husband is always independent. He may stay for some time and then he may also go away. What fault is there on your part? It is I who am the sinner, for I remained alive even when separated from you. The wife should always consider her husband to be her very life and soul. It is I who should apologize to you.
Maharaj, I am sorry. Dear devotees, is this done? Is justice served? Bolo. Did Sri Krishna do justice? By meeting and saying sorry? No. How will justice be done? Dear devotees, at that time, Sri Radha had uttered this verse that I want to see him again back at Vrindavan. And this verse was uttered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during Rath Yatra. I want to see him again at Vrindavan. I don't like this environment where he is Bada Maharaj. I don't like this environment. Dear devotees, Bhagavan also wanted to do something to pacify the situation. And there's a very nice poet, dear devotees, Sri Chandidas, who is the favorite poet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And dear devotees, I would like to quote from Chandidas, dear devotees, very, very important poetry. Sri Radha at that point of time is praying for death. This is Sri Chandi Das's poetry. This dear devotees Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loved. Please sing after me. बंधु की आर बोली वो तोरे अपना खाइया प्रीति करिनु रहिते नारिनु घरे The devotee she is saying to Sri Krishna, Bandhu ki aar boli gotar. What should I say to you now? Apana khaya piriti karinu. I consumed myself by falling in love with you. Whose fault was it? It was my fault that I fell in love with you. I consumed myself by falling in love with you. Rahite narinu ghare. I couldn't even have a proper home and family. I could not have a home and family because of you. And now I have only one desire. कामना करिया सागरे मरिवा कामना करिया सागरे मरिवा साधिव मनेर साधा साधिव मनेर साधा कामना करिया I have one desire now. Sagare mariva. I will go to the ocean and die because I have been told people who die with unfulfilled desires attain the completion of their desires in next life, isn't it? I have been told. And I will attain the completion of my desires. I want one desire. Maria haiba nandana nandana Maria haiba nandana nandana Tumhare kariba radha Tumhare kariba Next life, I will be son of Nanda Maharaj, and next life you become Radha. Sri Chandi Das appeared before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dear devotees. He did not write after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Radha desired, in next life you should become Radha. That I will die with one final desire, and through this desire I will finally get what I want. And after death I will become Nanda's son in my next life. If I become or not, I don't know, but at least you I will make Radha. And next life when you will become Radha, then I will see what happens. Piriti kariya chadiya jaiba Piriti kariya chadiya jaiba Rahiva kadam batale Rahiva kadam batale Tribhanga haiya murali puriba Tribhanga haiya murali puriba Jakhana jaive jane Jakhana jaive jane Next life piriti kariya, I will make you fall in love. Chadiya jaiva, then I will leave you. Then I will leave you. Rahiba kadamba tale, then you will see me again under a kadamba tree. Tribhanga ayya murali puriba, and you will see me in threefold vended forms. Jakhana jaiva chale, when you will go to the ocean to take bath, now you will see again and again. You will see me. You will be Radha. Otherwise you will not understand. Then he says, Murali shuniya murchaibe Murali shuniya murchaibe Sahaja kulera bala Sahaja kulera bala Chandi das gaye tabe se jani wo piriti ke man jwala Murli Suniya Murchahaiva. Next time when you will hear the flute, you will fall unconscious. Sahaja Kulera Bala. Next time you will be the innocent minded girl. Chandidas says, Tabe se janivo, only then you will realize Piriti Keman Jwala, what it is to burn in love. Dear devotees, life will come full circle, isn't it? Did Krishna become Radha in his next life?
Yes.
Did he fall unconscious?
Yes.
Did he experience the same desire to commit suicide in the ocean like Sri Radha? Did he hear the flute and fall unconscious? Dear devotees, Chandidas predicted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chandidas predicted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why does Mahaprabhu love Chandidas? Because Chandidas showed him the mirror. Dear devotees. Isn't it? Dear devotees, what you are experiencing, some of you are crying. Crying for Krishna is the highest perfection of the human form of life. Please tell me, is this distress or happiness?
It's happiness.
Would you like to hear more such songs in the future? Bolo? Yes or no? No? But if it is distress, why would you like to hear? Are all of you थोड़ा सब ठीक है ना? हाँ? कुछ गलत है? Dear devotees, he is suffering. Please relieve his suffering by chanting for him. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, did you understand affection? Little glimpse, dear devotee, little glimpse. There is an entire universe. Don't enter the universe. Huh? Once you enter, there is no coming back. This is a warning. Enter at your own risk. Because there is no coming out. You will forget that you were in Atlanta. So this, dear devotees, is very important. This is affection. Now while chanting Hare Krishna, you don't need the 6 recommendations. Pranayam. You don't need pranayam. Hare, Prabhu, why are you crying? You have not even experienced. See, somebody who's not experienced also starts experiencing in association of a poet like Chandidas. Isn't it? So dear devotees, I hope that all of you cry. Okay? Cry as much as possible. Because this crying is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did for the last 12 years of his pastimes. And you are his devotees. You are supposed to emulate his footsteps. Chandidas, Vidyapati, Sri Bilva Mangal Thakur. This is the life and the soul of the devotees who wish to chant with affection. And developing this affection every morning, remember that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who is suffering in separation from Krishna. And chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. On other winter mornings, remember the wonderful joyous pastimes of Krishna when he was in Vrindavan, they celebrating Holi and they were giving what devotees gali. And then when you are happy again, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And dear devotees, in this way, something will happen, dear devotees. Suddenly you will find something happening within you, dear devotees. And what will happen, dear devotees? Evam vratasva priyanama kirtya. Evam vratasva priyanama kirtya. Jatanurago trutachitta uchay. Jatanurago trutachitta uchay. Asatyatho diti rauti gaya. Asatyatho diti rauti gaya. Unmadavan rityati lokapaya. Unmadavan rityati lokapaya. Evam vrataha. In this way, swa priyanam kirtya. By kirtan of Nam which was dear to you, by kirtan of form which was dear to you, by kirtan of Leela that was dear to you, Jat Anuraga, develop that affection. Druta Chitta, let your heart melt as it melted little bit today. Uchchai Hasati, sometimes you will laugh. When you will hear that on Holi there was Gali. Atho Roditi, someday you will cry when you will hear that in Kurukshetra there was injustice, grave injustice, dear devotees. Rauti, sometimes shout, sometimes Unmadavan Nrityati, Lokabhaya, forget the world. There is nothing in this world, dear devotees, remaining. There are only two categories of people happy in this world. The completely mad, the complete cuckoo, and the complete cuckoo. Dear devotees, I hope the devotee and the madman. There's not much difference between the external symptoms. In this way, at the final moment of your life, remember, dear devotees, any one of the paintings which is closest to your hearts. And the final moment of life, remembering that seva, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The state of samadhi, nothing else should be there in the mind. That point, dear devotees, next time you open your eyes, you will find yourself taking birth with Shri Krishna. This is the perfection of the human form of life. Alright? Thank you so much, dear devotees.
His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu ki Jai. His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu ki Jai. His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu ki Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Devotees, crying for Krishna is the highest perfection of the human form of life. Many speakers take great happiness if they could make the audience laugh. But it is my success if I could make you cry. My success is if I could make you cry. Because this crying is the greatest joy. Never forget. These are words of experience, dear devotees. You will not enjoy as much in pastimes of union as much as you will relish separation. But you need to have that heart for relishing separation. Gradually. At this point, attention, alright? Gradually, someday, affection. And then you chant 300,000, no problem, dear devotees. Chant 300,000 like this. Haridas Thakur used to chant 300,000, not in a dry manner. He was not pulling beads. In his heart there was all the Leela of Bhagavan that he heard from Sri Rupa Goswami. Every day he heard from Sri Rupa. Imagine listening to Sri Rupa Goswami 2 hours daily, going back and then chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh wow! I also want to chant 192 rounds. I also want to chant, but that force is needed, dear devotees. So I hope all of you get that requisite force for attention and affection. I'm very thankful once again to Adigadadar Prabhu, Radhabha Mataji, for Gopal Maithili, entire family for kindly organizing this series of talks. I'm very thankful to all the wonderful devotees who assembled here. Deepak Prabhu, Asha Mataji, thank you so much. Arav and Anvika, wonderful family dear devotees. All of you dear devotees who kindly came here. Some of you came from such a distance. I'm very grateful to each and every one of you. I'm very thankful. Please keep this memory in your heart and always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. Thank you so much. If there is any mistake in what I said, dear devotees, you are learned devotees, please correct my mistakes. But if there is anything nice, please know that it comes from my Gurujanas. My Diksha Guru, Sri Srimad Radha Govindas Goswami Maharaj. My Shiksha Guru, all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, all the God brothers of Srila Prabhupada, and all of you also my Gurus. It comes from, not from me.
Hare Krishna.
Dear devotees, if you wish to have the personal association of His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu next year also with family, with Vasumati Mataji and Hari, then loudly let's 3 times pray and chant Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Yeah, Q&A.
So we can have question answers now. So dear devotees, if you have any question, please raise your hand. Yes, Mataji. Just speak little loudly so even the Zoom audience can hear.
Yeah, I have 2 questions, but first I will ask at the time of death, people are suffering so much and there is so much going on within the body, within the mind, everything. If the person is not in coma or awake, so how at the time of death one can remember Krishna? Because suffering is going to take over also. How do you plan for the death?
No. The body can suffer only up to a certain point. There is a limit. Those who have studied medical science, they'll tell you that the body has a threshold, pain threshold, beyond which the body goes into a comatose state. And even when the body is in a comatose state, the mind and all other, mind is still active. So even if you are, let's say, suffering due to some big disease or something like this, the final days of your life you're suffering due to a disease or something, but the body can only take so much pain. But if one is deeply practiced in this entire culture, because see, it is a sadhana, you can't take it lightly, it is a sadhana. Only when you are thoroughly practiced in this sadhana of smaranam, japa, kirtan, all with a lot of affection, only then is it possible that all of this overwhelming feeling for Krishna will take over the bodily suffering, and then samadhi. Samadhi is when even if somebody, cuts our head with an axe, we won't realize. Right, Samadhi? I'll give you a practical example. There was a Buddhist monk who burnt himself alive. There is as a protest. You can find it on YouTube. Buddhist monk burns himself alive. He's just sitting at one place. He didn't do anything. He didn't even flinch. Just the fire burnt his body and just be like that in the same position. So when you have heightened levels even of impersonal realization, bodily distress is nothing even in front of impersonal. What to speak of this? Bodily distress is nothing in front of this. Nothing.
So you will definitely, if you are practicing this sadhana and all, you will definitely remember.
Of course.
And
The whole.
as you were saying that it will be always in your subconscious mind.
Of course. Not only subconscious will take over your mind. Tunde tandavi niratim cheta prangana sangini vijayate sarvendriyanam kritim. It will take over your entire existence. No jane, I don't know. Janita, here, how many varieties of nectar went into the production of this name, Krishna? So, yes.
Mataji had one more question.
Yeah.
One more question is, maybe this is my not I don't know much about it, but was that the suffering of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the curse of Radharani, or how do you say that?
It's not a curse. She didn't say I curse you, but she said I curse myself to die with an unfulfilled desire. Because I have heard that people who die with unfulfilled desires, they attain the fulfillment of that desire in their next life. This much shastra I have heard. So, I want next life you be Radha. And you experience once what I experienced. But Krishna cannot experience what Sri Radha experiences unless he steals the mood from Sri Radha. Isn't it? And he stole the mood from Sri Radha. He doesn't have the courage to suffer himself. Isn't it? For suffering, you didn't bring your own mood. You got whose mood? Acha. And whose bodily complexion did you bring? Wow. What a brave person you are. What a brave person. You should have suffered in that dark complexion. Huh? No. Oh, no. Therefore, we, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we take sides with Sri Radha. Here is a quote from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Who are the Gaudiya Vaishnavas? Prabhu, please read the translation. With the first line, answered by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
Devotees of Vishnu are called Vaishnavas. Devotees of Krishna are called Karshnas. And the devotees of Sri Radha are called Gaudiyas.
Yes, this is it. So the devotees. Gaudiya Vaishnavas are actually under whom? Of course. Does it mean that we have no affection? Because there are some groups which say, some sampradayas will say, we don't know Krishna at all. No. We know Krishna. We love Krishna. But more than our affection for Krishna is our servitude towards Sri Radha. Because, let me tell you one, finally, you want to be situated under a master who is straightforward and simple-hearted. Isn't it? You don't want a crooked person as your one who breaks promises, speaks lies. One who is unmerciful till the point of death. You know? So, Mataji, which sort of an eternal master do you want? A straightforward person or a crooked person?
I want a loving person who is
Yeah.
Srimati Radharani.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome to Gaudiya Vaishnava. Welcome to Gaudiya Vaishnava. Wonderful. You are most welcome to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu School. Here in coming Atlanta, we have a wonderful school of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, you are at the right place. I hope that answers your query.
Yeah, very much.
Alright, thank you. Okay. Anybody else wants to ask anything?
Anvika,
Okay.
read loudly.
You said that what would you do if you saw a suffering person? So I would just give them some offered water to help their soul and help their suffering.
Should have offered what? Water?
Offered water to help some soul.
Okay,
That's
okay.
right.
It will take it. No problem. You can offer. Take it, no problem. When you grow up little bit, then you offer much more. Right now you offer water to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It will take some time. So, take it.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Sure, Mataji. Please. Prabhuji, Mataji has a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the wonderful session. Prabhuji, in the beginning you were saying that we have to chant that Swapriyanama is basically Krishna's name in Vrindavan, based on Vrindavan pastimes. So, somebody may say that the Swapriyanama is Nitai Gaura.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Swapriya Naam is Nitai Gaur. Sometimes people say it. So let's chant Nitai Gaur. And then why not have an entire sampradaya around the Naam of Nitai Gaur? But then there is an issue. We want to render service to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is carrying whose mood? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said something. This praman should be noted by everyone who is faced by a question, why don't we chant Nitai Gaur Naam? Yadi ama prati sneha Ake sabakara Tabe Krishna vyatirikta Nagai ve ara Mataji, you read Mahaprabhu's desire.
If you have any affection for me, then don't speak about any topics other than Krishna.
So Mataji, you may say I want to chant Nitai Gaur 24 hours, but Nitai Gaur say, if you have any affection for us, chant whose Naam? So, but we don't want to forget Nitai Gaur also. It's not that we'll not chant your name. A token Naam is chanted in the beginning. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. But then Mahaprabhu's main desire, chant whose Naam? You will see also in the Goswami literature, Sri Rupa Goswami, one verse in the beginning for Mahaprabhu, then full Bhakti Rasamrita. I hope you remember that is the standard. So you can, that is how it is. Okay?
Thank you.
That was a great question. Preeti last one?
Prabhuji, I have a
Yeah.
backup question.
Sure.
So if Nitai Gaur are not different
From Krishna, then why not chant Nitai Gaura?
Because the ras in which you relate to Krishna is different from the ras in which you relate to Nitai Gaur. With Krishna is Madhurya ras, in Nitai Gaur is Dasya ras. But why Dasya ras with Gaura? Because Gaura is carrying whose mood? And with Sri Radha we are supposed to have which ras? Dasya ras. So the ras itself is different with Mahaprabhu and with Sri Krishna. Therefore, since we have to cultivate two simultaneous rasas, Madhurya with Krishna, Dasya with Sri Radha. Therefore, and the injunction of Sri Radha is to chant Krishna Naam. So for her pleasure, we chant Krishna Naam. For her Dasya, we chant Krishna Naam. So that is the mood of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Alright, anybody else? Okay. Yes, there is one query here by Prabhu. Yeah, Bolu.
It said that before, it said that you should always chant Nitai Gauranga for cleaning a heart, because it is said that they clean your heart before you start chanting Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
So we should also chant Nitai Gauranga after our 16 hours or something.
No, what Srila Prabhupada recommended is that before kirtan, you should chant Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. I also asked if Prabhupada did it before japa, but there is no record of him doing it before japa. But at least before kirtan, he asked that we do Panchatattva mantra. And in the kirtan, you can do Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. That is alright, there is no problem. But in japa, don't try to, because japa is mantra. So japa, we don't try to bring other mantras in between the mantra we are given by the Guru. So whatever is advised by the Guru, as Prabhupada said, do that. That will save us from the dangers of Maya. In the beginning, I showed a quote. Do what is advised by the Guru, because that is coming from the parampara tradition. It is well established in Siddhanta, Ras, etc. So that is best. Alright, so I hope that answers the query. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Any other question?
Wonderful. So we are done.
We are not done actually, we are starting now.
Oh. So dear devotees, please tomorrow when you wake up, alright? Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rakshama. And don't chant because somebody, Hari Parshad came and forced you to chant. No, don't do like that. Chant because you want to attain affection. Devotees. Affection. And attention is by following 6 recommendations. Follow the 6 recommendations and chant with as much attention and affection. Sing Swapriya Naam. After your 16 rounds are done, you have free time in the home. Sing which Naam, dear devotees? Swapriya Naam. Sing your most favorite name. And it may change. Have a box of chocolates. Dear devotees, huh? Pick out a chocolate from a... I am not saying literally. Okay, please. Have a box of sweets of Bhagavan's Naam. Pick out one Naam randomly. Yashomati Nandana Vrajabalunagara Gokula Ranjana like this. Sometimes Geet Govinda Rajani Janita Guru Chagar Ragam Krishna, so much redness in your eyes, where have you been? Yahi Madhava Yahi Madhava Yahi Madhava Mavad Kaitava Vadam. Get away, Madhav. Go away. Don't speak lies, Madhav. Don't speak lies. Sometimes like this. Swapriya Naam. Like this. Like devotees. Everybody have your own assorted box of chocolates. Okay? Huh? You can have multiple Priya Naams. One name may be the sweetest. You can have multiple Priya Naams. Sing. Sing like there is no tomorrow. Sing like nobody is watching. Right. I tell everybody, I have the voice of a frog. I croak like a frog. Still I sing. I love to sing. But sing, dear devotees. Sing your way to affection. Thank you very much.
Will we have 10 minutes? Should we do kirtan 10 minutes?
Sure. Let some good singer, somebody whose voice is not like mine, who sings no like.
I'll ask Shachi Prabhu.
Okay.
10 minutes. You have the best voice. You have a Mridanga player?
Mahabhav Prabhu is Mridanga player.
And all one karta. Prabhu is karta?
Yeah. Here is the karta.
You see, I want you to see.
Yeah. Here is the karta.
You want to, you just hold it. So let's sit and focus now. 10 minutes, 10 prasad.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Krishna